Okay, we've just been talking about evaluative metering, where the camera will meter for the entire scene that you see through the viewfinder. What we're going to talk about now is partial metering or center weighted metering. Now what that's going to do, rather than expose for the entire scene, it's actually going to take about the central 8 to 10% of the scene and meter for that. So this is particularly good for situations like with Sonia here, where she's heavily backlit by the sun. So what I'm going to do to illustrate this is quickly take two photos. I'll take one with evaluative metering, just to show you how that she comes out in like a shaded situation. Let's take one there. So this is on evaluative metering. And you can see on that shot, she's actually quite dark, where the background's quite well exposed. If I now change to center weighted metering and point to the center of the frame when I'm composing the shot at Sonia, then it'll take the reading from her. So let's try that now and see what difference we get. Now that's much better, but what's happened is, even though Sonia is now well exposed, the background is completely blown out. So if you like that kind of effect, and I've seen it quite a lot, it's great, but that's why we're going to use, well, that's why we would switch to central weighted or partial metering when you've got a heavily backlit situation. Now while I'm talking about this, there's two other ways to combat this situation. One is to use fill-in flash. If you want the background to be well exposed and the subject to be well exposed, what we can do is basically just add your flash gun to the camera, take a reading from behind, or take an overall reading using normal evaluative metering. So we'll meter for the scene, and I'm getting 200th at f8 as a good shot. So if I switch to manual now, in fact I'm going to go to 250th at f8. So I know that the overall scene will be well exposed, but Sonia's going to be slightly dark. But if I now switch the flash on and ping in just a slight bit of flash, that should light her to match the background. So let's just take a shot. And you can see there, we've actually leveled out both the background and Sonia as well. Now, if you don't like the look of flash, if you want to use a slightly more subtle effect, you can use one of these, which is a reflector. Now, if I just show you how this affects you on the camera, you can see as I turn it round, it lights Sonia quite bright, isn't it? Yeah. It lights Sonia perfectly. Now, we've got two sides to this. That's a golden side, if you like the golden look, or we flip it round and we've got a slightly less harsh, whiter look. So that will be just fill in the shadows, and basically without having to use flash or partial or central metering. So it's up to you which you do. You can either zoom in, blow out the background and use center weighted metering. You can either use fill-in flash or you can use a reflector. Either way, you're going to basically light the subject when they're heavily backlit.